I see Kim's hand up.
Okay, Kim, and I'm going to ask Rick a question after. Kim, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Wally. Yeah, this is something we've done with our organization for the last couple of years, like the mission, vision, values type of statements. I've done it with my teams for 15 years, a little differently. But I was coaching older players, didn't necessarily have the parents involved. Because there was like junior kids, they don't really want their parents in there. But I think where we've had success now, and we're by far having our most successful season on the ice ever here at Leaside, in terms of how our teams are all doing. The art of it for us has been all the teams are doing those value statements, the mission statements. I'm providing technical and tactical, but what I'm really providing is the connectivity between the two because we share a Wildcat way to play. And I think that's a little bit of the magic of it, is that all our teams place a certain way. We prioritize certain things like possession or having poise or playing physically. And that is woven through our youngest team, which is my daughter's team, all the way up to our junior team. And the terminology we're using, the language is the same. It's the same technically, and it's the same culturally. We talk about the Wildcat way to be. We talk about the Wildcat way to play. You know, like you said earlier, there's things we do and there's things we don't do. So I think, you know, the value statement or the mission statement on its own is wonderful. And if even just one team does it, it's wonderful. It's going to be transformative, as everyone here said. Once you get everyone on board doing it in their own way, we don't mandate they do it in a certain way, but I do need to see it, right? I know they've all done it. And then I can provide them a zillion practice plans and drills till their eyes bleed. But that, to me, is the real magic of it, is when you have that principle-based way of playing and being, then you can say very easily to a parent, well, this is how the Wildcats play. You can say to a coach, hey, like, why are you dumping and chasing? That's not who we are as how we play, and culturally as well. If there's bullying on a team or there's something going on, you can say to the coach, okay, that's not who we are. You can say to a parent, that's not who we are. So, you know, the reason I did it that way is because there's 31 competitive teams here and another 40 house league teams. I can't be everywhere all at once, and I can't go and do the mission statement with everybody, right? But if you establish these types of things on a really large level, and again, that might just be because I love doing it and getting everyone to sing the same song, but that's really been the magic. I think the mission statement and just a bunch of drills to do is great, but it's that connectivity of that principle way of playing and being that's really worked well for us. And it's something that I think other organizations could do, you know, but again, as Wally said, you have to have someone like me who's not just X's and O's, but is saying, well, this is how we act. There's other places around us. Like we have 4 organizations that are very large within 20-minute drive of us. And there's no borders in girls hockey. So they could go anywhere at any time. We don't have their card. We can't keep them here, right? So we're in a buyer's market. They can go anywhere they want. So how are we different? I know that not all organizations have that if they've got sort of, if they're the only show in town, but there's a lot of shows in town here, and that's how we've tried to differentiate ourselves. And we're seeing now a lot of players coming from the outside, a lot of families coming back who maybe left for greener pastures because they didn't get what they want or they perceived something. We're having a problem of we have too many players, not enough teams, and not enough goalies, which is a great problem to have. But you know, that's not just winning championships. To me, the winning championships, winning tournaments, all of that, that's a byproduct of everything else. Again, I'm preaching to the converted, but I don't, you know, I'd love to see more people like me around at different organizations. And the people that I've met are largely technical directors, like Wally said. They come in, like, give practice plans and go on the ice, which can be transformative, but it doesn't transform everybody at the same time. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, but just thought I'd share.
I love that, Kim, and just hearing the intentionality of the way you're doing things and how much consistency you've brought to it, obviously over the years. And I'd be even willing to venture to guess that some of your constituents, your own parents, your own kids, are able to say, hey, without you having to do it, to be able to say, hey, that's not the Wildcat way, right? And that's when you know the culture is ultimately taking hold, is when you're not the one that's got to say it, that you've got your coaches, you've got your parents, you've got your kids that are doing that themselves, right? So that's incredible. And I think, you know, unfortunately, the default mindset, and so they're very lucky to have you, Kim. And that's where I think, I mean, long term, as PCA, we want to work ourselves out of a job, right? Where we've got these people that are minded the way you are. The reality is we're nowhere near that right now. And the challenge of the youth sports environment is the culture is never static, because you've always got new coaches, you've always got new families, you've always got new kids, right? So how are we intentional about onboarding and setting that expectation really early on? But that's where I think PCA plays a vital role, and a huge part of why Jason and I continue to support this organization is when those people don't exist, how do we be a catalyst to create that mindset? And hopefully there's a point, and that's where the culture keeper comes in. That's where all these other pieces come in, where we can help set things up that that type of environment takes hold naturally, where over time, eventually, hopefully, we're not even needed in that organization outside of maybe being part of the onboarding process for new programs. But unfortunately, we've seen time and time again, we're nowhere near that point. So, so if we can help, certainly with any of the programs, we'd love to be able to have those conversations.